Welcome back, Vancouver, to the Institute of Urban Ecology. Once again, I'm here in our Douglas College greenhouse because it's raining outside, which is only natural when you live in a coastal temperate rainforest. On today's episode, I want to talk about gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are the flowerless plants that reproduce using cones and seeds. Conifers are one type of gymnosperm and happen to be the dominant tree species in our coastal temperate rainforest. Other species of gymnosperms include the ginkgo tree, gonadophytes, and this cycad. But those species aren't found locally. Humans have depended on conifers for centuries. Aboriginal communities used cedar to make housing, totem poles, canoes, Western hemlock for eating utensils, and Douglas fir for hunting spears. Today, conifers still remain an important economic resource and are used for a lot of lumber products, including paper and cardboard. Of course, our conifers also have a critical role to play in our coastal temperate rainforest. Want to learn more? Let's get started. Gymnosperms contain the world's largest, most massive tree species on Earth. The largest tree on Earth right now is a redwood sequoia in California named the Hyperion. It stands 379.7 feet tall and is estimated to be around 700 years old. Conifers are the dominant tree species in our coastal temperate rainforest because they thrive in cooler, wet climates. Some of our oldest tree species can be found out at Lighthouse Park in West Vancouver. This is one of the few remaining places left locally where you can find an old growth Douglas fir forest. But other than their size, what else makes conifers different from other plant species? Like angiosperms, gymnosperms need to be pollinated to produce seeds. But instead of flowers, gymnosperms produce separate male and female cones. The male cones produce the pollen, and the female cones contain the ovules, which will turn into the seeds. But because there is no flowers, all gymnosperms need to be pollinated by wind only. And the process from pollination to fertilization of the ovule is much slower, and it can take up to 3 years. The three most common conifers that you'll find in the coastal temperate rainforest are Douglas fir, Western hemlock, and Western red cedar. If you'd like to learn how to identify these species, check out our previous video called Meet the Coastal Temperate Rainforest. Some other species that you might find here or there include grand fir, Sitka spruce, yellow cedar, and western shore pine. Lodgepole pine is another variety of shore pine, and it is the tree species that is being mostly affected by the mountain pine beetle in the interior. Also in that previous video, we talked about the coastal Douglas fir and coastal western hemlock biogeoclimatic zones of Metro Vancouver. However, if you like to visit our local ski hills, you might start to notice a shift in the dominant tree species as you leave the coastal western hemlock zone and enter the mountain hemlock zone, approximately 900 meters up, where the dominant tree species are now mountain hemlock and yellow cedar. An interesting and rather important ecological process to understand in our coastal temperate rainforest is called succession. If a forest is damaged by human or natural causes, it won't regrow into a new rainforest straight away. There is a series of predictable events that will eventually lead to a stable old growth forest, but this takes many, many years. The sequence of successional events goes like this. Starting with bare rock, the first plants to colonize an area are the lichens and mosses. Then you get herbaceous plants and grasses, then shrubs, and the last to colonize the area are the trees. The trees themselves even grow in succession. Red alder is usually one of the first trees to appear and is an important nitrogen fixing tree. You can commonly find red alder in highly human disturbed areas like alongside roads. And if your neighborhood forest is dominated by red alder, then you are living in an early successional stage. Red cedar is actually the dominant species locally. However, most of our forests are currently in a secondary stage dominated by western hemlock. Western hemlock appears first in the successional timeline because it grows faster than red cedar. Red cedar, though, is more shade tolerant, and so what will eventually happen is those red cedar trees will outgrow the hemlock and shade them out. Vancouver's successional clock was reset around the 1870s when most of our local forests were logged. It's not uncommon today to find a western hemlock tree growing out of a red cedar nurse stump. Worldwide, evergreen forests have the highest net primary productivity than any other forest on Earth, meaning they take in the most carbon dioxide and they put out the most oxygen, making the conifers of our coastal temperate rainforest not only an important economic resource, but an irreplaceable ecological resource as well. Some scientists predict that within the next decade, the human population will double. This means more forests will be lost to build housing, make space for urban development, and more land for agriculture. More inland, our conifer forests in the interior are also facing increased threats from forest fires and mountain pine beetle outbreaks. The forestry industry is large and complex, but there are some simple things that you can do at home to help. First, lower your CO2 emissions by converting to energy efficient appliances or light bulbs. You can also wash your clothes in cold water or take public transit, for example. You can also reduce your waste and consumption levels. An easy thing that everyone should be doing by now is using a reusable coffee mug. You can also shop local and support local stores and farms. Shopping local means that less fuel is needed to ship the items to you, and you can also rest assured that you're not adding to the deforestation of a third world country. One of the easiest things that you can do to help our urban rainforests is to convert your yard into its own wildlife habitat by planting native plant species. These plants will help provide our native wildlife with some more suitable habitat and will help stop the spread of invasive species. If you're just joining us for the first time, thank you, and make sure you check out our other videos in our Coastal Temperate Rainforest video series. Coming up, I'm going to talk more about invasive species and native plants, so make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out. Until next time, Vancouver, thanks for doing your part to help protect our urban ecosystems. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye for now.